Alright everyone, look, another trailer came out over a week ago, but I've been a little bit distracted. So we're going to be doing this today. My excuse is that I was waiting for more of the teaser images to drop so I can go over those as well. You guys believe me, right? The lover without a heart. The lover had always wanted friends, but he didn't know how to get anyone to love him back. The harder he tried to impress the people with his magic, the more he would drive them all away. This is the story of a little AI who ruined everything. Alright, so here's where we're immediately jumping into frame by frame moment. Yeah, immediately we know this bro's manic. We can see the whole place glitching around him. I don't think there's much here.
Surely they don't.
Is the bomb back? That's... Oh, yep. Oh, wait, no, I thought that was a bomb. That's not a bomb. That's one of those, it's one of those toys where you have, like, the different color tubes and the little, like, spinny wood piece on them. Then you can, like, move them around and watch them go, ooh, wiggly through all the other tubes. It's like a fun little roller coaster for toddlers. Because Kane's whole deal this episode is wanting to fix an unfixable problem. So I guess this toy in particular could represent like the untangleable mess. Because no matter what you do, you can't like untangle this toy. This is an interesting framing. I want to speculate as to what this is. I don't think I can without watching the episode. Having all of this empty space in the middle with Ragatha and King are clearly like tiny in each respective side and the height. This is a very intentionally composed shot, but there's clearly some sort of like difference, like some distance being hinted at between King and Ragatha for some reason, whether it's a sense of distrust or we haven't seen this part of the circus in a while.
Surely they don't want to.
Pretty much just during, there's a lot of bubbles. All the lights break. I feel like all the lights breaking has to do with Kane glitching out. A lot of bubbles. I don't know what this is. This is one of the weirdest shots to me. Because while it looks like a window, there's a very clear, like the Matrix line. I don't know if this is just another shot of Kane glitching the whole circus grounds. Is this in his office? The thing is, I can't tell if that's the window in his office or not. Because I know his office has something kind of similar to that. I don't know. It looks...
Surely they don't want to.
Like it's coming... It looks like it's in his office. It immediately follows into... I'll get to this in a little bit. I have things to say about that. It immediately follows into the items abstracting in Kane's office. So we know Kane's office is going to get hit with everything. And we know that the memories, well, I don't know if the memories is the right term, but they look like the memories from Inside Out, so that's what I'm going to call them. All of the memories of previous adventures are also in here. We'll get back to this, but I'm curious if these memories glitching or abstracting are what causes all this other stuff we're about to see, like this, because that's Ribbit. That's 100% Ribbit. We know the hot chocolate, same in the picture. Now, what I've seen some discourse on is if this shot in particular is a flashback or is happening in present time. I think it's a straight 50-50 for this shot in particular. I think this shot could be a flashback, not something happening in the present. But as I just mentioned, since the memories are glitching, it could be both. So there's three options here. This is either a straight up flashback, either the abstracted characters have been recreated in the modern circus, or the memories in Kane's office have glitched, which are causing the circus members to go back, or I guess like the memories of those adventures leaking into the real circus. So this is less of like abstracted Ribbit, like back from the basement, but more of the image of Ribbit from this adventure or that's just kind of being replayed to the rest of the circus. I'm kind of leaning towards that one, because we know people can't unabstract. So we'll see, because there's some other stuff happening later. Everyone falling from the ceiling. Don't really know why. I think that's just a very trailer. That's a trailer shot right there. That was a little menacing. Yeah, that was definitely menacing. These, okay. My next, I don't even know what to say theory. Zooble is going to get the worst of Kane's treatment. I see a lot of people saying that Kane's going full on villain. I don't think so, with an asterisk. I think Kane is still operating on wanting to fix the problems he created and to provide like entertainment for the circus members, except Zooble. Because this menacing shot of Kane, the slow turn straight into Zooble running in the void, I think Zooble's the only character that Kane is going to be actively antagonistic against, but I do think that will be important. Okay, this is also interesting. So this is Ragatha, but this is shot the same way, like same exact composition as this ribbit shot. Just an empty table, just the hand, and Jack. So yeah, so all of them, and you see all of them are in separate locations. So I think at the very least, some of the characters are gonna get split. This is also interesting. So my guess is that if we're right that everyone gets sent back to like the glitched memories of previous adventures, Kinger does not. For whatever reason, he stays in the circus grounds, potentially alone with Kane. This is also at the beginning of the episode, I'm sure. Oh, that's the Jax is on the purple couch there. So I think the scene earlier where Jax is going through it as he usually does. That looks like the circus grounds, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Yeah, that's just him on the couch. So they're just yapping at the beginning of the episode. There might be something significant with the seating here, other than, of course, Jax being separate from the rest of the group. Maybe there's something with these three on the same couch. I wouldn't bet that much on composition intent. Lots of bubbles. Lots of popping bubbles in Kane's office. Okay. This is where I want to break into a little sub-theory that I've heard and don't fully agree with, but partially do. So we know that Bubble is inspired by the Bubble Boy virus. So Bubble in canon is a virus in the game that Kane just kept around. And there's people saying that Bubble is going to be like a twist villain, like mastermind antagonist behind everything. I don't think that's the case. I think Bubble is too minor of a character. Not that he's minor, but we have not been seen Bubble doing anything, honestly, with intent in general. Bubble's so far only characteristic has been like for the bit. Bubble just is a chaos creature. I don't think it has any malicious intent or even intent at all. That, and I think that making Bubble a twist antagonist would not serve the messages of the show, and especially would do a disservice to Kane's character, and all of his flaws that we've been seeing. The flaws that turn Kane from a neutral party to a straight-up antagonist. What I think could be happening is with the glitches, since Bubble is a virus, Bubble adds to and spins the chaos out of control to where Kane can no longer control it anymore. So it's another case of Kane attempting to fix the problems he made, using various, or I guess progressively worse and worse and dangerous methods, and not being able to control the outcome. I think that's what's happening here. And for whatever reason, because of the glitches and because of the instability, Bubble just goes full chaos mode. So I see Bubble definitely being a chaotic force in this episode, but I don't see Bubble being like a twist villain for the series. That's just Queenie. More than likely, that's what all of these like reaction photos or reactions are from. Probably specifically Queenie. Also, the fact that this is a very intentionally cut shot. This isn't like, oh, they left a couple frames in. This is like 10 frames of Queenie before the straight cut to black. Or this shot right here in this trailer is what gives us the most information about what this episode's going to be about. In some way, somehow, the abstracted people come back. Whether from the cellar, uncorrupted, or like how I think memories of them leaking through the old adventures. And whatever is happening here potentially is compounded and being made worse by Bubble just going rogue or glitching or just being a general chaotic gremlin like he has been the entire series. All right, so we get a lot of stuff here. Red and blue with the same grid pattern we saw on Kane's office earlier. We've seen that red and blue motif a lot. I'm curious if this is to represent like two potential sides of Kane. If he is gonna flip to like full-on evil, which I don't think he will, but it is very possible that that's what these red and blue sides represent, is like the good and bad evil Kane. I'm hesitant to say that. I don't think Kane is a character that would be well served with like a straight up alter ego. Except in the trailer, he just wants love but can't understand it and ruins everything to get it. So as to what this red and blue, it's obviously Cain and Abel as well, could also represent a Cain and Abel type deal. I don't know if we have enough information to know what that's about, but keep it in the back of your mind. I think that red and blue motif within Cain is important. I don't know if these three are important, but if they are, the characters notably absent are the ones that we know have abstracted friends coming back, being Jax and Kinger. And I don't know about Pomni. Pomni's just missing from there. Oh, Kinger gets taken somewhere, straight up. There doesn't seem anyone else around, so I do think Kinger gets left alone in the circus with Kane, and then he yoinks off to somewhere else. Cain and Abel office, these are images? So I believe these are the, if I were to guess, these would be the images that Kane has access to, not actual footage of the place. This is another clip why people think Bubble will be a twist villain, is because of this very shocked, perturbed, disturbed Kane, and then Bubble's right there. That's a very valid interpretation. Like, this is a very just straight up antagonistic scene for Bubble, for how short of a clip it is. I still hold true to my Bubble not being like malicious, but just simply causing the problems to spin out of control, unintentionally or intentionally. Like I said, Bubble really is just a chaos creature. Actually, this one.
Let's get this show on the road.
Cool. So that's Kane again in the Void. This also feels like a shot specifically composed for the trailer. Maybe not, but that's what makes me think that this shot is also specifically for the trailer. We'll have to wait and see. There's a couple of these that are more interesting than others. I'll go through an order of least to most interesting, in my opinion. This one is, in my opinion, the least interesting, just because we kind of already know what it's all about. The Cain and Abel computer, Kinger looking up at these are all primitive objects, and then the abstraction eyes underneath, whether that represents Queenie or his own potential insanity. This one is pretty clear what's going on. Pomni's is the second least interesting, but still pretty interesting. Her worried expression toward the single Cain eyeball. What makes me interested here is that she's not looking at Cain. Pomni is looking at the horde of bubbles, which again, I think lends credence to Bubble being a chaotic force in this episode, or compounding what's gonna go wrong. Like, this is the only shot with at least Bubble in particular. There are bubbles in other shots. Bubble's gonna play some sort of problematic role in this episode. I just don't think to the level of full-on twist villain. This one is interesting. Cain actively grabbing Zooble and moving Gangle away. I think this also shows that Zooble is going to be the only one that Cain is actively antagonizing, whether it's another like, oh, you don't like my adventures, I'm gonna force you to like them, or just a full-on, I'm done with you, I'm pissed off, I'm just gonna throw you out a window. I don't know. Depends on what they want to do. This one is the most interesting because it's the least directly tied to the episode as far as we know. It's the least somber. Because, like, well, I shouldn't say somber. This one is just Kinger goofing around, both of these pictures are very, like, afraid, but neither Jax is just depressed, we know that, but he doesn't seem desperate like the others. And Ragatha going through each of the abstracted doors, but with not almost an unconcerned expression. So I'm very curious as to what that's going to be about. As far as you know, Ragatha wasn't particularly close with any of the abstracted people. So I wonder if her and Kinger are going to be the ones to at least resolve this episode's conflict with the bubbles and the returning abstracted individuals. Because we noticed that Kinger and Ragatha are also the only two not desperate or worried or afraid. They're either neutral, at best neutral, potentially just curious, or I don't want to say giddy, but like comfortable. And they're the only two. And throughout the trailer, we also see them two in particular have some sort of thing happening between them. They're also the only two with abstraction at all hinted within them. Something between these two, it's either a piece of knowledge that the two share, or something about that wedge between them being driven because of a potential Kinger secret coming out. Also, Truman Show. There's other people that have really gone into the Truman Show reference with Kane. Kane is the only one, like, that is truly, genuinely trapped in the circus. He literally cannot and never has existed anywhere else but this pre-programmed reality, which is very Truman Show-esque, even though Kane's not a human. And we do see throughout the series that Kane desperately wants human connection and human, like, life experience. Not to escape, but he desperately wants human life experience. So I think that might be what the Truman Show is getting at. Wrapped up thoughts. Bubble is definitely a problem this episode. He compounds whatever, at least in my opinion, he's going to compound whatever mistake Kane makes way out of control, which is where all the abstracted and, I believe, leaking past adventures are going to happen, or people getting sent back. Zubul is going to be actively antagonized by Kane, more so than anyone else, if anyone else is. So I'm curious how that's going to play into the episode's resolution. The antagonistic nature of Kane and Zubul is not stopping. We see very actively Kane has it out for Zubul right now. So we'll see how that comes into play. Potentially Zubul is the one that pushes Kane over the edge, which is when Bubble starts going haywire. Something between Kinger and Ragatha, whether it has to deal with the abstractions or some piece of information of Kinger's past. It's a very clear parallel being driven between the two in their relationship. And we will see in this episode if this series is going to be a tragedy or not. I think it's a tragedy for Kane. Absolutely. We'll see if the rest of the characters fall into the tragedy trap. I should stop before I keep rambling over myself and probably contradict. So let me know what you think in the comments. Share any sort of theory. I think there's a lot of evidence to point towards a lot of different things right now. Me personally, in my theory crafting, I want to make sure that anything I say I believe will happen makes sense in service of the characters as well. With that in mind, please share any sort of theories, ideas, half-baked or not half-baked ideas, are where you find some real hidden gems. Go forth, discuss, talk, and do not fight or harass. Do you see this is what happens to anyone who harasses anyone else on my channel. They get yoinked. Don't get yoinked. Be nice. Go converse, my children.